It all started with the wedding ceremony of a groom named Sully and his bride Gaga. Friends approached the groom to congratulate him on his wedding. "Congratulations. You look great today. You must be pleased with yourself," noted Jim. "Hey, I thought I saw someone who looked like you. Did you send her an invitation?" Clarified his friend. However, he himself knew who he was talking about, but the same girl he hadn't told the wedding date, so she shouldn't be here. "Why not? Should she just leave like that? Tell her!" The friend continued to insist. However, at that moment, Sally noticed a beautiful girl handing an envelope of money to an employee. "I'm going to have lunch," the girl declared. This lady was the same girl Jim had mentioned to his friend. Her name was Roxy. She was the fiancé's ex. "Sally, you're calling your ex-girlfriend on the eve of your own wedding? Have you no shame?" Decided to be the first to say hello to Roxy and Sally. "Don't ever dial my number again. If you have any self-respect, of course," declared the lady and walked towards the exit. "Roxy really is crazy. Did she come here for fun? Honestly, it's not worth tearing her hair out. Hey, that's not Roxy's style. Wait, is she heading to the bride's room now?" The groom's witness remarked in surprise. At this time, the bride was being photographed by a photographer in a separate room. The bride is so beautiful that all of her photos looked gorgeous. That's when Roxy walked into the room. "Hi, Gaga. Congratulations on your wedding. The dress looks great on you." Roxy said hello. That's when the girl decided to offer Gaga a photo together. "You're my best friend, so please be nice," asked Roxy. "So you're friends. The bride and her friend are beautiful. Hold on, I'll change the battery and take a picture." Just then, the photographer pointed out. Roxy walked up behind her so that she would be in the background in the picture. However, the sly ex decided not to miss the opportunity to lightly taunt Gaga. "Gaga, it's such a beautiful day. What's wrong with your face? I dated this guy for 5 years, and you're the one who ends up marrying him and forgetting about me. Smile," said Roxy. The girl found out about her best friend's relationship with her boyfriend 3 months ago. "Honey, what I did was wrong. I must have lost my mind. I didn't think she'd get pregnant." Apologizing to her on Sally's lap that night. "I'll totally work it out, really. Please look at me once. You know I only have you," the man continued to plead. Of course, Roxy was absolutely not going to listen to him anymore. "What? Solve the problem? Crazy. Is that all you have to say? How are we supposed to continue our relationship? I wasted 5 years of my life on you. Get out of here now," demanded the girl. The next day, Roxy met up with the very same best friend of hers that her boyfriend cheated on her with. "Roxy, it can't be helped. I'm pregnant. Shouldn't we be responsible for our child? Lately, Sally hasn't returned my calls because she's afraid of you. So why don't you get in our way for the sake of our baby?" Gaga pointed out. It was a betrayal of the two people Roxy trusted the most. After that, the girl had to cut all ties with them. Roxy was like a machine at work and like a doll at home. The girl was helplessly short-changing herself. However, this all lasted until Roxy heard the news of their wedding. "I did everything for him, but Sully cheated on me. You told me to stand back and just watch it. It was nice to meet you," Roxy continued to say as the girls took pictures. Right after the photographer finished, he let the girls go. Next, they had to go to the ceremony. "Oh, and by the way, you know what? They say the wind blows hard the first time and easy the second time. Have a happy married life," said the girl before leaving that room. A couple minutes later, the shoot for Friends was announced. The bride and groom's friends were to come forward. Of course, Roxy didn't miss the opportunity to have her picture taken with them. "Wait for me. I'll be right with you," asked the smiling girl and stood in the background. Immediately after taking the photo, the guests were offered a taste of steak. "Roxy, long time no see. I asked him to tell me if you were coming, but I didn't really think you'd show up here. How are you doing?" asked a girl she knew when she saw her at lunch. "I'm doing fine. I was recently promoted to the head of the company's public relations team, so I'm getting ready to accept the position." The girl shared the news. "What? This is the same company? I guess you had a hard time starting out, but now you're transferring to the headquarters of a major corporation? That's awesome! But isn't that the same company where Sally works? Are you sure you'll be okay? Still decided to clarify the girl who was worried about her acquaintance. But for Roxy herself, it wasn't that important. They're on different teams anyway and won't be seeing each other. The girl also picked up on the fact that it was Sally who felt awkward, not her. Oh, really? Not all the guests have arrived yet, so I'm going to go out and greet them, informed the lady before their dialogue ended. At this time, the groom, who was passing by Roxy, was greatly regretting what was happening now. I've lost my mind. I just wanted to have fun with Gaga. How come? What a waste of time, sadly thought the guy. His wife noticed that he was totally thinking the wrong thing, so she brought the guy back to reality a bit. Sally, we're welcoming guests now. What are you looking at? Asked the girl. Watching them, Roxy knew that Sully would spend the rest of his life ogling other women, and his wife, Gaga, would spend the rest of her days feeling insecure about her husband. Just then, one of the guests noticed that Roxy had left a napkin on the table. Are you going to throw the napkin away? Don't worry, it will be put away later. The man decided to ask. Roxy then thought this was the perfect moment to make her point in a clever way, so she just couldn't help but answer the man. No, I'll throw it away myself. Trash should be in the trash can. It's easier to treat scum when they're in their place, right? That's how we have to be careful when we recycle trash, said Roxy, after which the groom's ex-girlfriend proudly walked away. She made all the guests believe that the rumors were true. Everyone around them realized that the man betrayed Roxy and got married out of wedlock. When Roxy went outside, the girl was relieved. The taste of revenge is much more pleasant than she thought. However, she was wearing her new shoes, which had a very uncomfortable heel. Therefore, Roxy decided to take them off. Hardship is hardship, and there's no glory in it. Maybe I should have slapped him, pondered Roxy. At the same moment, a familiar man approached her. You've changed a lot. You're going to need this, right? Clarified the man and handed over the medication. As soon as Roxy looked up, she recognized him immediately. It was Jackson. Why are you here? Surprised asked Roxy, who couldn't believe her eyes. Well, trying to fit in? My coworker got married today. What are you doing here? A man asked in response, and the girl explained to him that she was here for the same reason. Drink this. I thought you looked tired. The situation is pretty funny, isn't it? But it was cool. Unexpectedly, Jackson said. I came to the wedding because we work together. I didn't feel like showing up there, but I'm glad I made myself come. Shared the guy. Indeed, Roxy was pretty surprised that Jackson was working alongside her ex-boyfriend. It's a small world, isn't it? Still, I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope you can get rid of the guy who did this to you. I've heard people spreading gossip about it. I don't know the details, but I'm sure it was his fault, said Jackson. That's when he noticed that they hadn't seen each other since high school, after which Roxy decided to ask how her former classmate was doing. However, at that moment, he noticed how much the girl was in pain. I put on a pair of shoes, and they rubbed my feet. Explained Roxy, however, the guy pointed out that a new pair of shoes wouldn't rub the skin if they fit her foot correctly. Yeah, it probably doesn't fit me. I'm still a little bummed about my purchase, Roxy admitted. Just get new ones that fit you. I'm sure you'll find a great pair of shoes, Roxy, and it'll definitely take you to a good place, said the guy. But first, trash should always stay in the trash can, right? You're going to get rid of those shoes, though? Jackson continued talking, and as if he was laughing at the girl. That's when the guy decided to find out what transportation the girl was going to use to go home. Roxy had a car, so she was thinking of taking the bus back home. Great. I'm sure your feet are still sore, which is why I'm taking you home myself. Follow me, the guy said sweetly. Memories took the girl back to her high school days. That was when she first met Jackson. Roxy wasn't familiar with the guy, so she decided to ask her high school friend who he was. Oh, that's Jackson. He's in his second year of high school, the one everyone was so excited to see at the beginning of the year. narrated the friend. Look how bright it is in our club room. We are so lucky. I hear he's doing well in school. He's good at everything he takes on. The friend was telling, and you could tell by the girl how much she liked this guy. If you like this guy so much, then go over and talk to him. Let me finish my work. Asked Roxy, and the excited girlfriend ran to meet Jackson, joining their project. After a couple minutes, however, Jackson himself approached Roxy. Why are you doing everything alone? Let's eat something delicious together. Is there anything I can help you with? I'm really good at sorting papers. Offered his help the boy. Roxy refused at first, but when she found out that Jackson was really good at it, she still agreed to such concessions. Back to the present. Roxy was riding in the car with Jackson. On the way home, she even fell asleep involuntarily. You must be really tired. You dozed off as soon as we got in the car. I guess you were at least comfortable, the guy remarked. I was so nervous. It's the first time I've ever ridden in a car with someone. I think you got a good night's sleep, so you're fine. He also added, Yeah, wow, what a car. And the seats are so soft. The girl decided to say to get away from the awkward situation. Well, then Roxy noticed that the guy completely called her name, which made her feel even more awkward. And I see you're a very outspoken person. Why don't you call me by the short form of my name? We're only 3 months apart in age. The protagonist of this story remarked. However, thanks for letting me down. Let's have lunch together sometime. Have a safe trip. Before getting out of the car, the girl said goodbye. Right after Roxy got home, she plumped down on the bed. It was obvious that she was very tired for today. On top of that, Roxy was going over in her head all the things that had happened that day. I thought I could go up to them and say everything to their faces, but I didn't get the chance. The girl was frustrated. That's when her mom walked into her room. I knew it. Well, get changed and go to bed, the woman asked. Roxy, you can't live like that. Why did you go in there? I told you not to go. Already shouting, the mother began to reply. You can't always be so kind. I only paid for the holiday buffet. Did I do well? Replied her daughter. However, her mom still wasn't thrilled with Roxy's decision. You were going crazy. Look at you. Why go there and eat? Was the food even good? The woman inquired. However, Roxy admitted that she couldn't even taste the food. The girl became so lonely at that moment that she even asked her mom to hug her. It was such a hard, emotional day that the girl even cried. The mom kept hugging the girl and tried to comfort her daughter. It's like a gathering of scum. Don't cry, daughter. Don't cry over them, said Mom, hugging Roxy. On Monday, the girl went to work at the company office. After all, it's the first day of work. Don't worry. I was transferred to this office because I'm a good employee, consoled Roxy to herself before going to work. The girl also decided that if she met Sully, she would just ignore him. That's when she went to the elevator to head to her floor where her office was located. But at that moment, she ran into Jackson. The girl immediately remembered that the guy had told her over the weekend that he worked alongside Sally. Right. You said you worked here. And by the way, don't call me by my first name at work. Roxy mused aloud. 1 minute, you're telling me to call you by the short form of your name. The next, you're forbidding it. How am I supposed to address you then? Already, the boy didn't understand. Then the girl said he could just call her mistress, which made Jackson laugh even more. Finally, the elevator they were waiting for arrived, and the guys got in it together. Mistress, you're going to the public relations department, aren't you? Then you're on the 13th floor. A man remarked and pressed the right button. After that, the girl decided to ask her former classmate what department he worked in. As soon as Jackson pulled out his employee card, it was clear that he worked in the same department as Roxy herself. You, said Roxy, but the man interrupted her. The girl's surprise could not be conveyed in words. However, the guy kept a completely neutral face. When you say you, do you mean Jackson? I'll show you around. Follow me, said Jackson and escorted the girl out. Upon arriving at the right office, the guy showed her her workstation. "You're sitting right next to me, so I can help you if needed. I even wiped the sign." Jackson continued to tell her while Roxy didn't fully understand what was going on. That's when their supervisor approached the guys. "Are you Roxy? I'm Jean, the general manager of the department." The man said hello. "Hello, I'm Roxy. I'll be working with you from this day forward." A girl introduced herself in response, but the manager told her to let the girl talk less. He also asked her to take her mind off work for a second. The two of them excused themselves to talk for a bit. "Okay, well, we talked about the team. I heard from Mr. Yoon from the other company that you, Miss Roxy, are doing a great job, right?" The man remarked. Roxy assumed that Mr. Yoon was quite pleased with her labors. "Don't worry. I was just curious, so I called him. Usually the announcements are announced in front of the entire department, but I'm telling it to you now, Miss Roxy. It doesn't happen very often, but maybe you have someone who has helped you." Suddenly, the man changed the subject of the conversation. "You can feel free to tell me everything. I need to know who he is, not guess. You know how to do that, don't you?" The boss continued to point out, but the girl really didn't understand what the man meant right now. After all, she didn't come to this company because of someone else's connections. "Ah, so you fit your boss in many ways, and you're also quite pretty. Do you have a boyfriend?" The manager also continued to ask awkward questions. "When are you going to get married? Miss Roxy is single? You're thinking of getting married, aren't you? Apparently you can't. A woman should bear children. That's patriotism." Jean's horrible expression continued. At the moment, Roxy didn't even realize why she was standing there listening to all of this right now. But after all, she would have to hang in there, as she wasn't about to give up the position in the department that she had gotten so hard by snapping at her boss on her first day. To the girl's delight, Jackson joined them. "Manager, I brought coffee!" joyfully announced the guy, who, without even knocking, walked into the office. "I bought you some, ma'am. Do you mind?" The guy also added. "And by the way, manager, when you're done, may I introduce Mistress Roxy to the team? They're already waiting," questioned Jackson. "They are? Then you go right ahead. We'll get to know each other better in time." The manager happily agreed. As soon as the girl left the office, she immediately began to ponder Jean's image. "This is ridiculous. I can't believe it's the head of the department," sounded in the girl's thoughts, but there was no time to think about it. It was necessary to get acquainted with the new team. "Hello, Miss Roxy. I'm Patrick, the manager. Welcome to the Public Relations Department. I'm Mickey, junior manager. Oh, and then there's Bob. He should be here any minute to greet you." The co-workers said hello. "Get to work. If anything, my workstation is over there," said the girl, and pointed her finger at one of the workstations. After talking a little with the guys, the protagonist thought that these people are all good. There is only an exception in the form of the boss. Right after that, the girl began to immerse herself in the workplace. "You can transfer all of this to the table like this. These are all your assignments for today. Is there anything you didn't understand?" Mickey decided to clarify, but everything was clear to Roxy. At another different firm, she would be doing something similar, so the girl knew she could handle it. "Oh, I almost forgot the most important thing. Beware of the boss. He creates conflict the moment he opens his mouth. Remember this. It wouldn't be fair if you quit on your first day." Decided to give Mickey a warning. "You're on the right track. Congratulations on your wedding," then said the girl. "Thank you. I would have loved to work with you, Miss Roxy. I was the only girl in the department. It's so boring," Mickey admitted. Since Roxy is another girl in the company, Mickey was overjoyed by this and decided to gossip with her a bit. "Also, it's a secret, but they say that Mr. Jackson is the son of the owner of our company." Unexpectedly, Mickey said. His admission scores are ridiculously high. He got them by interviewing with demanding executives so he'd get a free pass to work. Plus, he's new and good at his job, and he's always calm in any situation. Narrated Mickey. Even the general manager doesn't bully him. Surely there must be something to that. continued to say Mickey. Listening to this, Roxy thought about the fact that there were similar rumors about Jackson at school, and now the same thing was happening at work. But Mickey quickly changed the topic of conversation to the chairman of their company. The spokesperson for the company is Joseph. In fact, Rosalind is his second wife. I heard that his first wife secretly had a child with him when he was younger, but never married him officially. His first wife's name is Alice. She has the same last name as Jackson. He must have kept his mother's last name so he wouldn't be recognized, said Mickey, and then Roxy wondered how the girl even knew that. I have my sources, so I managed to find out at least something. It's not exactly a regular story, so watch out for Manager Jean. But everyone else in our department is great. Manager Patrick and Bob are very nice, not to mention Mr. Jackson. They will never refuse to help you. By the way, it's no secret that Jackson is the chairman's son. Mickey also added. The girl knew about the rumors about Jackson, so she wasn't too surprised. However, she was grateful in her new friend from the collective for the needed information. Still, it was time to get to work. After a few hours of work, Roxy decided to hand the candy bar to Jackson with a note. "Thank you for saving me from the general manager." It was written on the note from Roxy. "Manager Roxy, I don't like chocolate," informed the boy. However, he was still pleased that the girl thanked him. "Do you have any free time tonight?" Jackson suddenly decided to ask, stepping closer to the girl. "I'd like to get something in return for my help. So is dinner still on, Roxy?" asked the guy. Of course, Roxy agreed, and after a short while they were on a date of sorts. "You asked to spend some time with you and finally decided to invite me to watch a movie? Oh, okay. Do we have tickets?" The girl asked, surprised. "They're already booked in advance. That's why I asked if you had any free time. You don't want to watch a movie alone, after all," the man pointed out. "Have you seen this movie? It's been rerun," said the guy and pointed his finger at the youthful melodrama. That's when Jackson decided to offer to buy popcorn to start with. Of course, the girl was delighted, and they went to buy a snack for the movie. When the guys entered the hall, they noticed that there were hardly any people there, since it was a weekday. There were so few of them. "It reminds me of my high school days. We used to watch movies together in the film club," he shared. "Of course, I remember how it all was. The pleasant memories last a long time. I loved that time so much," Jackson admitted. Their conversation didn't last long, however. The movie had already started. "In fact, when this movie came out, I wanted to watch it with Roxy," the boy thought out loud. Finally, they were here to see it in its entirety. A few years ago, when the guys were still in high school, the teacher had given one assignment related to the movie club. "It's time to complete the assignment, right? It's all for your own good. If you're going to go to college, you should have one less line on your application, right? The assignments are to watch movies that are going on in theaters right now and write a review. You will complete the assignments in groups of subspecies. We're going to do it fair, so come up one at a time, starting from the front row. The movies are also divided into groups. Check out the list. You have to attach a picture to your review," explained the teacher. "I wonder what kind of movie I'm going to get. I hope it will be something interesting," hoped the protagonist. Just then, a guy stealthily approached the girl. It was the same Jackson. As it turned out, they were in the same group. As soon as the guys were told that their movie was Swan Lake, the guy immediately decided to ask his classmate if she had already encountered this picture. Based on the title, we can assume that the movie is about ballet, right? The only thing I know is the title of the movie. I heard that it has good reviews, said the girl. Really? Great! When is Roxy free? Any time would be convenient for me, replied her boyfriend, and then they agreed to meet on the weekend since the girl had exams coming up next week. Now it was possible to get down to the task at hand. So the guys met at the movie theater as planned on Saturday. The ballet movie was both funny and sad at the same time. As soon as Roxy and Jackson left the theater, they immediately discussed the movie they had watched. It really is an interesting movie, isn't it? I thought it would be boring, but I liked this musical. It was nice to see a movie in a genre that was new to me. How did they manage to combine a musical with ballet? Oh, and the dialogue was pretty interesting, especially that conversation between Lily and Thomas before the climax. Sharing her impressions, the girl and her boyfriend said, "Yeah, that part was great. The main thing is not to stop dancing, not to stop dreaming, not to stop loving, right?" Quoted the heroine's line from the movie Roxy. "You've only watched it once and you've already learned the phrase? Do you remember any other lines?" the guy asked admiringly. "I like your eyes shimmering like a lake," the girl then quoted. "All the characters are very realistic, and I remembered their words because I was completely immersed in what was happening. I loved how they showed passion. What did you like about it?" the girl inquired. However, when she looked at the guy, she noticed that he was completely blushing. Roxy thought Jackson was sick, but that was something else entirely. "No, I just got hot. I'm fine," Jackson said quietly. Roxy was really starting to worry about the guy, so she asked to look at him, but Jackson wouldn't allow it. "No, Roxy, I'm perfectly fine. Should we take a picture now?" Jackson suggested. Since then, Roxy had grown close to Jackson. Jackson had followed her example. The girl had no hatred for him. Still, when they spent time together, Roxy noticed that the feelings inside were unforgettable. However, the girl still thought it was just excitement. "Roxy, why are you looking at me so intently? Is there something on my face?" the boy asked, surprised when he noticed the look on his classmate's face in the movie theater. "The popcorn is sticking. I'm kidding. Watch the movie," said the girl. But at that moment, the very words from the movie ran through her mind. "Someday, somewhere, we're destined to meet again. So let's make some good memories so we can laugh together." A few hours later, the girl finally returned home. "Did you have dinner with your coworkers? It was your first day of work, wasn't it?" her mom asked from the doorstep. But Roxy explained that dinner would be on Friday, and she was just going out to eat and talk to someone from work. "Isn't it a little late for a meeting? Or maybe my daughter is starting to lie to me? Okay, go wash up and go straight to your room," Mom said with a smile. However, the girl was not able to fall asleep immediately that night. She kept thinking about what the guy in the movie theater was telling her. Jackson had said that pleasant memories lasted for a long time. Still, Roxy involuntarily thought about it, even though she realized herself that she should go to bed. Damn. Why is this popping into my head? Get a grip, Roxy. My high school sweetheart was Jackson. Now is not the time. Trying to get rid of the intrusive thoughts of the protagonist of the story. The next morning at work, Jackson brought coffee for Roxy. Although the girl had been drinking juice, she still decided to put it aside to drink the coffee that the friendly man brought her. In return, the guy decided to offer to drink her juice. "What's the big deal? I ate well in high school. Here's coffee," he said before getting to work. Jackson acted exactly the same way he did in high school, but their conversation didn't last long as another employee came to work, Manager Bob. "Manager Roxy, it's nice to see that you've been able to settle in with us," said Bob as he turned his attention to the girl. It was clear that this was about to be about their general manager of the department. He's pretty strict when it comes to work. "I was worried about Manager Roxy at first, because Mr. Jin seems like a rather cruel person, but now, I'm glad you're doing well. You all remember that today is a work day, right? Let's do a good job and get this over with quickly," the man suggested, and all set to work in unison. The day really went by rather quickly. After work, Roxy was walking towards the exit with Jackson. "Don't drink too much today and be careful. You never know who's going to pick you up while you're drunk," Jackson said unexpectedly. Roxy didn't even initially understand why the guy cared so much. "You've never had a drink with me, so why?" the protagonist wondered aloud. "Look at you! You don't even understand me! I get upset all the time when I think things like that," started to tell Jackson in a serious tone. "Are you sure about what you're talking about right now? Mr. Jackson, stop bullying and let's go to dinner," said the girl who noticed that the guy was mocking her. Finally, all the co-workers could have dinner together. They had picked a really nice place to relax, although it would be desirable that it was near the office. As it turned out, such a nice place was booked by Jackson, but the hard search was worth the moment. Thanks to Jackson, we ended up in a great place. He's the best! Still, Jean's manager is never wrong. While Roxy sipped on strong drinks, Jackson only snacked on his favorite salmon sushi. The co-workers continued to discuss work issues while eating dinner. Manager Roxy, I need to take a call. I'm going to step away for a moment. Mickey then apologized before leaving the company. At that moment, however, all Roxy could think about was when this would all be over. The girl wanted to go home very badly. But then the department head approached her. The man decided to inquire how much the girl liked the food at this establishment. I'll pour you a drink. This is the first drink poured for you by your boss, and I want you to like it. I'll pour you my signature drink, offered Jean. The girl then said she would definitely have to drink it and smiled sweetly. Yeah, that's how you should build relationships in a team, confirmed the supervisor. But as soon as the girl drank what he poured her, Roxy immediately felt sick. Now get me a drink, declared the supervisor. But, General Manager, this is my glass. I'll pour you another one. The girl objected at first. However, the man continued to assert the fact that he liked this glass. After all, alcohol tastes best when poured by a woman. I finally have the urge to drink, the man continued to say while in a drunken frenzy. Watching the guys from the sidelines, Jackson decided to intervene in their conversation. You've had enough to drink, General Manager, declared the lad. That's when Bob added to him. Jackson's right, General Manager. I'm afraid you've had enough, Bob confirmed. But the senior manager was so drunk that he was no longer willing to listen to anyone at all. Manager Bob, you're the one who can melt the ice in someone else's heart. How about having a drink with me? How will two men drink? Alcohol tastes better with a woman. The drink is sweeter because I'm drinking it from Manager Roxy's glass, said the unpleasant man, and already started to hug the new employee. That's when Jackson took his hand off the girl's shoulder. That's enough, boss. Keep your hands to yourself, the young man asked in a menacing tone. What? You better let me go right now. You scumbag, determined to interfere with me? Angered Jin. However, Jackson confidently stood his ground. He wasn't even afraid to raise his tone at his superior. I think you didn't hear me, so I repeat. That's enough, until I stop you myself. Jackson continued to state. Let go of me, you lousy bastard. You got a death wish? Maybe you'll start if I hit you, huh? Jean began to shout in response. Things were getting more and more heated. Bob thought the men were going to fight, so he asked Jackson to calm down a little, but the boss couldn't be stopped. Why are you doing this? How dare you behave with your boss? The drunken man continued to shout. We just got together for a drink and you're making a fuss. Or are you purposely going out of your way to get everyone in trouble? Isn't that right, Roxy's manager? Said Jin to find approval in the girl's eyes. However, Roxy confirmed that it was indeed true, and added that she could no longer continue listening to such disgusting remarks. Do you enjoy such comments with rather adult overtones? Are drinks only good when poured by women? Try saying the same thing to someone on the discipline committee within the company. Unexpectedly, the girl began to speak in a confident tone, causing the general manager to even shut his mouth. I won't allow myself to be treated like that. Also, I wouldn't want to work with someone like you, assured the girl. I'll write a detailed report on what you did and said today, and then send it to Human Resources. And I won't forget to mention what you said to me on the first day. So, I'll leave now. The protagonist finally decided. That's when Roxy packed up her things and actually headed in the direction towards the exit. The general manager tried to stop her, explaining that it was completely different from what she thought. But of course, Roxy had no intention of going back to her co-workers anymore. Then Jackson shouted back to the girl that he was going to go with her. Of course, this displeased the department head even more. Jackson, crawling after her? The two of you decided to play with me? Resented Jean, however. The guy wouldn't listen to him. Still, Jackson decided to catch up with the girl. As soon as she turned around at the guys shouting, it was obvious that she was completely displeased with tonight. "What do you want from me? I put up with all this. But why do you have to listen to all these insults? Don't you care if you get fired?" The girl didn't understand. "If I get fired, then he gets fired along with it. Anyway, I can get a job somewhere else." The guy tried to convey to her, but the girl was not satisfied with such an answer. "That's my concern. I could have handled it myself, so why did you even interfere? And how are you even going to go to work on Monday after all this?" questioned Roxy. "No, how can I stand being treated like this, Roxy?" unexpectedly asked the guy in response. "I did it because I couldn't hold my temper. I couldn't just sit there and watch you pretend everything was fine." Jackson admitted sincerely. "I'm sorry I interfered. If anyone should be upset, it's you, Roxy, and I also yelled at you. I'm sorry." Jackson continued to apologize. The situation had gotten a lot better. The girl explained that everything was fine and even thanked Jackson for his help. After that, the guys decided to sit down on a bench. Now, Roxy decided to apologize to her colleague, since she was the one who got him into trouble. "I don't want to hear you apologize. I'm fine. Just take care of yourself, please," reassured Jackson. That's when the guy also admitted that the situation reminds him of the past. "Reminds me of the time we had a snack together on the school family bench. We used to talk about this and that," recalled Jackson. But it wasn't like that at all now. "It's so annoying. I don't understand why I have to force myself to listen to foul language from a man who can't even pronounce the word parachute. I worked hard to get this position." The protagonist pondered aloud. Then the guy decided to ask her what the general manager had said to her on her first day. "He's not a good judge of character at all. The boss's head doesn't work at all. Roxy, on the other hand, was class president all through high school, and you always stayed so neat. You were constantly praised in clubs, and you did well in school," Jackson pointed out. "That's it? All in the past, and you're still bringing it up?" Surprised, but with a smile on her face, Roxy decided to ask. "Anyway, don't memorize anything said to you today. You should know how to take out the trash, Roxy. I'm the one who knows the real Roxy," sweetly said the guy. To him, after all, the girl was forever that little girl from high school. But in response to such an admission, Roxy only laughed. "Why are you laughing? Is it at me? I was trying to comfort you." The boy didn't understand. "No, I'm fine, thank you. I don't know what I would have done without you. You made me feel so much better," Roxy admitted then. "It's pretty chilly already. I should have brought a jacket. Is it because we've been drinking?" the girl also remarked. Of course, after such words of hers, the guy offered his jacket to the lady in a friendly manner. "Come on, I'll walk you to the cab." After that, Jackson decided. The next morning at work, Bob approached the girl. "Manager, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm sure you've been running around in meetings since this morning." The man decided to ask, and so the girl told him that she was fine. That's when Roxy decided to apologize to the manager. However, the man thought it was unnecessary. "Manager Roxy, it's not you who needs to apologize, it's me. I shouldn't have been so soft. I'll be more careful next time, and it won't happen again." The man promised, and the guys went to do their work projects. As soon as the girl sat down at her workstation, she noticed that Jackson wasn't there yet. But the coffee was next to him, which meant he was in place. "Maybe he got a call from the department? No, I haven't reported the situation to HR yet," the girl wondered. Just then, Roxy saw Mickey. "Manager Roxy, can you come over here for a minute? I have some news. Manager Patrick, you come here too," whispered the girl asked. "This just showed up on the company's internal bulletin board," said Mickey and opened a file on her computer. In that file was an international office announcement, an order to transfer to the foreign office as follows Gina. After what happened on Friday, Roxy decided to tell everything. And unexpectedly, Jean was transferred to India. And Jackson, who is absent today, aka the son of the company chairman, Roxy was already afraid that her acquaintance was transferred. But after a couple of minutes, Jackson returned to work. Then one could exhale happily and get on with their work. Jackson said he went to pick up materials for the company's new product. I had some free time this morning, so I sorted out your paperwork and mine, the guy also said. But I forgot to add the changes to the document. But it's still nice to be praised after a long time. In fact, Jackson was nice about everything. A little while later, Roxy was approached by her manager, Bob. Got a spare minute? Clarified a coworker. It was work-related, so the girl could take it easy. As you may have seen earlier in the announcement, the general manager has been transferred to India. He will be away for a while to prepare for the transition to the new job. And until a new person is found to fill his position, I will fulfill the role of general manager. The man shared. I'm sorry that something like this has happened to you. If there's anything I can do to help you in the future, feel free to contact me. Bob also added, Please take care of me. Why don't we start by meeting the people from the newspaper of the future? Friendly suggested the man, and of course the girl agreed. Manager Bob, I know it can be inconvenient. You have been considerate of me and helped me organize my work. I'm glad there's a man like him. Best boss ever, thought the girl. From such wonderful news, the girl's mood rose even more. So she decided to have coffee and coffee machine, however. The machine was making strange noises. You can't be sure that it is safe to use it. That's why I'll bring you fresh coffee every day. Jackson jokingly decided to offer. At that moment, the guy also decided to ask the girl what she planned to do tonight. The guy admitted that he would like to have dinner with Roxy tonight. It wasn't a bad idea, but this situation made the girl a bit tense. She'd been going to work with Jackson every day lately. Roxy was afraid there might be some weird rumors going around. Wait a minute. There was some string on your head, said the guy and pulled the string out near the girl's ear. Ah, thank you. Next time, just mention it, asked the proxy in a calm tone. Anyway, if everything goes well, we can have dinner together. Then chuckled and suggested the man again. However, after work, the girl was still going home. In any case, I'll insist on doing my own thing. Well, have a good trip. In parting, said the guy. That said, Jackson walked right behind Roxy. Aren't you going the other way? Why are you coming with me? The girl decided to ask, though the guy answered her that he just wanted to go for a walk. As the guys walked together, they reached their school where they attended. On the way, Jackson also noticed that the prize vending machine near the school was still standing there. When the boys were in high school, they tried to get the toy out every week. Although Jackson has an athletic build, it was not working out well for him. Then we'll try it again right today. The boy decided confidently. You know, Roxy, do you want to go to our school when it gets warmer? Jackson also suggested unexpectedly. The boy wanted to go admire the blooming of the sakura trees. We had those trees at our school, didn't we? But we never got to look at them, the young man remembered. But we'll be swamped at work by then. We'll have to take overtime, thought Roxy. Such a nice conversation between the guys was interrupted by the dark silhouette of a guy. It was the girl's ex-boyfriend. Sully called out to Roxy in order to tell her something. Do we have anything to talk about? And don't call me that. I'm not comfortable with it. In a rude tone, the girl replied to him. It was then that Jackson came to Roxy's defense. Go away. I heard the manager say no, the man stated. Jackson, is that you? I know you work with her on the same team, but this is our private business, so stay out of it. You're going to have to back off, said Sully. However, Roxy still wasn't going to talk to this young man about anything. I don't have anything to say to you, so stop this silly endeavor, said the girl. Jackson, thank you for walking me out, so please go home. Then the girl added, now she and her ex were alone together. Are you out of your mind? Do you even realize what you're doing? Tell me why you're here? Immediately, Roxy asked the question. The guy then pointed out that she wasn't answering his calls, which made Roxy even more pissed off. Now they decided to go out somewhere else to talk about it. I heard that you were transferred to the company I work for. Why didn't you let me know? Inquired Sally. Are you out of your mind? Why do I have to report everything to you? Does your wife know you're here? If you're going to continue with this nonsense, then leave, declared Roxy. At that point, the guy admitted that he thought the baby wasn't his. Gaga seemed to have another boyfriend besides me. Maybe she fooled us both, said Roxy's ex-boyfriend. However, the girl didn't care at all anymore. So what? What does that have to do with me? In a completely calm tone, Roxy asked. It doesn't change the fact that you cheated on me with your own friend, added the girl. I'm sorry, Roxy. I'm begging you. Forgive me, please. I lost my mind then, but it was always only you in my heart. That's when the guy fell to his knees and started begging for forgiveness. Gaga has always been too pushy. It's not like we haven't registered the marriage yet, so we can make things right. If you accept me back, we can get our old relationship back. From now on, I promise I won't cast a single glance at other women. I'll treat you well, okay? Roxy. The guy continued to apologize. Of course, the protagonist of this story had absolutely no intention of forgiving him. Are you done? Don't ever come near me again, the girl declared before leaving. She didn't feel sorry for the guy at all. 5 years. Roxy had been dating Sully for 5 years. If he really loved her, he wouldn't have come on to her like this. You didn't have to do that. What a mess you made, thought Roxy. The next day at work, Roxy had to tell the guy that she didn't respond to his text message yesterday because as soon as she got home, she went straight to bed. He had, after all, texted the girl yesterday, asking if she had gotten home safely. But Roxy really didn't have the energy to reply yesterday. Okay. I hope everything went well. I was worried, said the guy, and they went their separate ways. As the girl was working with clients, one of them decided to clarify about the recent situation. I saw an ad on the company's website. I'm wondering if something happened to manager Jin. He was suddenly sent to India. A customer remarked, I don't know what happened. Had to answer Roxy to keep her profession secret. He was being so uncultured. I thought it was because he had an accident or something. And don't tell me. At last year's seminar, he was flirting with a woman from another department. I heard him say the other day, if you have to have kids and get married, then why work? Between us, we can also pass on to the staff. Suddenly, the other girls started discussing. However, Roxy informed them that she had to go back to work. The girl decided to prepare materials for the next meeting and email them to the clients. Jean's general manager will notice, right? Is this all his karma? Pondered Roxy after the meeting with the clients. As soon as the girl left the office, she met Bob on the way. The guy informed that the general manager wanted to talk to the girl, so Roxy had to approach Jean. I wanted to meet you, Manager Roxy. As soon as they met, the man said, it's... Still also pulling Jean. I'm really sorry about that. The day we went out to dinner, I had too much to drink then. The man began his apology. The girl chuckled slightly in response to make him feel less embarrassed. Yeah, it's definitely all about the alcohol. Drives a man like that. You know that, Roxy's manager, right? People can make mistakes when they drink, right? Henceforth, please accept my apology, right? Said the general manager and held out a notebook. All I need is for Roxy's manager to sign my apology, said the man. Many rumors have surfaced because of this misunderstanding. I would like to document that we understand each other and offer our regrets. Maybe then I can stay in this country and not leave my team. So you just need to sign this document, Manager Roxy, said the confident man. General Manager, you apparently don't know what a sincere apology is. I'm sorry, but I can't sign this paper. It would be problematic to sign a contract not agreed upon between the parties. Thank you for your understanding, General Manager, Roxy said in a serious tone, never stopping smiling. Just because you were drunk is not a serious excuse. Even when not sober, people don't behave the way you do. I find it offensive to try to solve the problem like that, Roxy stated. Of course, such an honest answer of hers didn't please the manager. I'm leaving anyway. So, manager, I hope you and Jackson will be the only people of that character in my path, replied the man to him. By the way, I have yet to report that incident to HR. I wondered about it when you were sent to India. The girl also added, If it hurts the man who helped her, namely Jackson, then I'm not going to stand by, Roxy said in a confident tone, after which Jin became even more angry. You don't seem to fully understand the situation. I'm trying to be gentle with you, the man said to him in response. However, the girl explained that she was already being nice to him. Should I ask the company staff what they think of you? There were quite a few people who were offended by your actions. I know that many people felt humiliated because of you, the protagonist pointed out. The man then decided to stop there. If you have no errands for me, then I will go, said the girl and headed towards the exit. This? You think treating me like this is going to make you feel more comfortable at work? Manager Roxy! The man continued to yell at her. As soon as the girl walked out of his office, she thought about the fact that she had made a fuss. But is that okay? I don't want to put myself at a disadvantage. Tried to console herself, Roxy. That's when she met with her other co-workers. Are you all right? Here, have some water. You look pale, noted Mickey. General Manager Jean is making a fuss before you even leave. You did a good job, Manager Roxy. No need to apologize. It's okay. Her co-worker also consoled her. Fortunately, the general manager was brought to India. He left more calmly than expected. Mickey also left the company. Since then, this department has been very busy with work. It was hard to work late at night, but it was nice to not have to think about anything. Ah, General Manager Jin, indeed. All the papers are all mixed up. How the hell did he approve this? I've got enough on my plate as it is. At least we won't have to put up with his antics anymore. I'm tired. I need coffee. The main character thought. Just then, Manager Jackson walked into her office. I thought you had already left. Did you forget something in the office? Clarified the girl, and then the guy explained to her that he had gone out to dinner. I bought some for you too, Manager. Are you forgetting to eat again? When you're focused on something, you don't move from your seat. Eat it and keep working, advised the guy. There's a lot of crap that General Manager Jin left behind. There's still no way I can sort it out. The man then said out loud. Roxy immediately told him to tell the guy to express himself more culturally as he might be overheard. However, Jackson himself wouldn't even mind if the general manager heard him. You know, the only thing the boss can say to me is, hey man, if you can't express yourself properly, then don't talk at all, Jackson said jokingly. Thank you for taking care of me, Mr. Jackson. Let's hurry up and finish this all together, the girl suggested then. Time passed quickly, and here the guys were already coming downstairs after work. You've worked hard today. Get a good rest. He's not coming again today, is he? Unexpectedly asked Jackson. Yeah, I wasn't going to ask, but I'm a little worried about it, admitted the guy. It's all right. I've blocked him. If he comes to me again, I'll beat the crap out of him, promised Roxy. Roxy, you're awesome. You did a good job today. You're so independent since you do everything by yourself, said Jackson and stroked the girl's hair sweetly. The memories took Roxy back to her school days. Then Jackson also walked the schoolgirl to her house. One day, the girl decided to ask why the guy was doing that since he lived in a different neighborhood. I wanted to stop by the bookstore. Jackson answered her. By the way, did Roxy get a declaration of love yesterday? Questioned the boy. How did I find out about it? Word spread through the school pretty quickly. I know you firmly said no, said Jackson. However, the girl told him that that was all completely untrue, and also asked why the boy had inquired about it in the first place. I was wondering why you rejected him, Jackson admitted. I don't. What do they even like about me? He and I haven't even talked more than once, explained the girl. At that moment, Jackson decided to ask the schoolgirl about what the ideal in a guy was for her. Roxy seriously thought about it, because she hadn't even thought about it before. Only after a couple of minutes, the girl answered that perhaps for her, an ideal guy is her father. The perfect man should be like her dad. I don't know what he's like. He died when I was 6 years old. I don't have many memories, but they're all good ones, Roxy admitted. It felt good for the girl to talk about her father. He was a wonderful man. According to her mom, there was no other man in the world like him. They had gotten married after a long relationship, and they were wonderful. Mom had even once said that little Roxy had been jealous of them, telling them to look up to her. The girl admitted that she loved it when her daddy stroked her head. "That's why I said I would never marry and stay with him for life. What would you say to that?" Roxy inquired. "No way. I'd say you've grown up, wouldn't I?" The boy thought aloud and stroked his friend's head. "Well, take your hand away. If you want me to break it." Immediately, the girl threw his hand away, then blushed with embarrassment at the same time. Back to the present, when Jackson decided to walk Roxy out, the girl always wanted to go first. After work, when Roxy got home, she immediately went to take a shower. After her bathing procedures, the girl walked into the kitchen to her mom. "Go and eat a persimmon. It doesn't stick to your teeth and it's delicious," said Mom. "I will definitely try it. But Mom, do you know what to do if I don't understand what's going on?" Decided to ask her mother's advice to the girl. "You mean that guy who gave you a ride home last time?" asked the mom. "How do you know that? Have there really been rumors? Anyway, I can't be sure if he likes me or not," admitted Roxy. "Such an uncertain guy. Are you okay? If you really like him, I won't try to talk you out of it or confuse you even more, just like your dad," Mom declared. But instead of giving ambiguous hints, Roxy felt that Jackson cared for her, cares for her every time they meet. "Whatever, it doesn't bother me. I'm not looking for a relationship anyway," Roxy stated aloud. The girl explained that it was too much of a hassle, and she would like to live with Mrs. Chloe forever. Roxy said she wasn't just doing it because of that bastard. "Okay, take your time. Don't be afraid to meet people because of one person," said Mom. That's why the girl can't get out from under her mom's wing. The next morning at work, Jackson brought the girl coffee again. This time, Roxy was already wondering why he did this every day. "No, Roxy. Let's not take this as simple kindness. Are we boss and subordinate, neighbor and manager?" pondered the girl. "You're going to the cafeteria today, right?" Jackson decided to ask her then. "Oh, that's right. I'm having lunch with the manager today. I'm sorry, but you and I will have lunch separately this time," informed the girl with a smile on her face. During the workday, Jackson also noticed that Roxy was avoiding him. Instead, she was chatting with other coworkers. The guy tried to intervene in the girl's conversation with other people. However, she kept returning to work as soon as Jackson would start talking to her. During lunch, the girl did wonder if she was avoiding him too much. Once she realized that, she would never stop again. At that same time, Roxy met with Yoon's manager. "How's the atmosphere in the team? Are you settling in well?" the manager inquired. The girl shared that it was a bit difficult here, but overall, it wasn't bad. She shared that the job was similar to what she had been doing before, so she was able to settle in quickly. "I'm glad you're doing well. I was a little worried that it would be hard for me to fit in because this company is all men, except for the manager, Roxy," Yoon admitted. That's when the girl pointed out that Roxy is close to Jackson. "Huh? Not really," Roxy admitted. Though also Roxy told another manager that she definitely doesn't know about whether Jackson has a girlfriend. Probably not. He had been popular since he started working here, but he didn't react in any way to those who dared to flirt with him, which was why Roxy wondered if he had a girlfriend. The other day, the head of sales got up the courage to ask him for his phone number, and he said he didn't like that kind of question. Even though Jackson seems friendly, he's not the type to approach. Narrated Yoon, to which Roxy was surprised. "Isn't he the type to approach everyone first? Isn't it his style to start a conversation first? Do you really become different when you talk to people from other departments as well? He seems to be a bit shy." The protagonist wondered. In any case, Yoon admitted that she liked manager Roxy. "I don't know why we don't have people like Jackson on our team. He's a blessing in disguise," said the manager. "He's great at what he does," Yoon also added. "Yes, Jackson is good at everything else, but if I draw a line between us, he gets hurt. Social life, social life. Do you want me to buy you coffee this time?" pondered Roxy. When the girl returned to work, she noticed the guy wasn't at his workplace. The girl thought that he went to brush his teeth. So Roxy decided that she would buy coffee when she saw the guy. That's when she heard Jackson's voice. The guy was talking on the phone. Yeah, a lot of work lately. Free for the day. How about we meet up after work? Pasta? I'm really craving it. That's great. Okay, I'll call you often. Answering someone on the phone was Jackson. From his voice, Roxy thought the guy was talking to his girlfriend. Just then, Roxy decided to walk by. Jackson noticed this and asked where the girl's girlfriend was headed. I'm just heading to the library, looking for materials needed for a meeting, said Roxy. You're acting strange today. Why are you avoiding me? Still decided to ask the shrewd man. However, the girl said that she thought completely differently. If you say so, then let me help you after all. By the way, I have a lot of things to do today. The guy decided to say. You have an appointment, right? That's all right. Go ahead. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Jackson. I'm going to go look at the archives, said the girl before leaving. As soon as the guy was alone with himself, he felt this strange atmosphere. That's when he noticed the coffee on his desk with a note to wish him a good day. Did I do something wrong? Pondered Jackson, reading the note. At the lunch break, Mr. Jackson brought out many delicious desserts. It looked really appetizing. All the coworkers had already tried it. Yesterday, I had dinner with my mom for the first time in a while. She heard that the coffee that is near your office is famous for its desserts, so she brought some for us to try. Shared Jackson. At that moment, the protagonist of this story realized that the guy wasn't talking to his girlfriend yesterday, but just his mom. And this one is for the manager. They say it's the most popular dessert. You like strawberries, don't you? Jackson asked Roxy. It actually looked funny from the outside how Jackson wanted to convince the girl that the person he was talking to yesterday was not his girlfriend. There had been a similar situation once before in high school. Back then, Roxy noticed Jackson chatting sweetly with another high school girl. However, young Roxy decided that it was better not to jump to conclusions. It's just a kindness, and we're not in a relationship. Consoled herself little girl at that moment. Then and now the situation felt about the same. However, the girl was brought back to reality by the general manager. Manager Roxy, tomorrow afternoon, I have a meeting with representatives from the Truth newspaper, and I've also been called into an urgent meeting, so I'd like to ask you to fill in for me, asked Bob. Mr. Jackson has experience in such meetings. I'd like you to go along. We just need to deliver the materials and explain to them what and how. They don't check their email and they call me all the time. Cher beamed. This is the same reporter. Do me a favor. You two can go home as soon as you're done. The general manager also added. Another employee was also interested in this news. This meeting, should I go? Invited the guy. But the general manager had already decided that Roxy and Jackson would go instead. The next day, Roxy thanked Jackson for the trip. Their journey turned out to be a long one. The meeting place was closer than I expected, said Jackson. Then Roxy suggested that they finish it quickly. However, the girl couldn't go far without feeling pain. Those new shoes were causing her feet to chafe. She had been feeling uncomfortable in her own shoes lately. At first, they were a beautiful gift. By the time her social life began, they had become the pinnacle of her ego, and even more so, part of Roxy's everyday image. Yes, shoes are a way to show who you are. The higher the heel, the higher the girl's presence is appreciated. At least that's what Roxy herself thought. Are you okay? Your shoes look completely uncomfortable. The man pointed out and handed Roxy a Band-Aid. Thank you. I'll use it at the end of the meeting. You are so gentle, Mr. Jackson. Gave me some medicine for my stomach the other day. Thank you, girl. I got it that time quite by accident, but lately I always carry it with me, admitted the guy. Jackson so added that he doesn't do anything like that with others, however. The girl didn't emphasize it and offered to go to the meeting soon. Still, Roxy noticed how upset she actually was at her thoughts about Jackson, but she should have set her mind to work. Within a couple minutes, the guys were already sitting in the office for a work meeting. As you can see, the group will be launching a new slogan in the second half of the year, narrated the Roxy employee. Why explain what's already written? We don't have much time, the man then said. Mr. Jackson, we met once before, didn't we? The interlocutor also clarified, and the guy confirmed it. I remember last time you came in with your supervisor, a male. She must be a new employee. Is it hard to get used to a female boss? She's quite the talker, narrated the guy right in Roxy's presence. Reporter Charleston, I'm sorry to bring this up, but I don't understand at all why you said that earlier, replied Jackson softly to him. What I said earlier was a big mistake, an error, also said the guy. I was going to tell you earlier, but Mr. Jin was brought to our office in India, explained the girl. Apparently, he was unable to contact you due to circumstances. The main reason for his transfer is harassment. Evidence was also found in communication with certain ones. I'm sure there were other reasons as well, Roxy stated. I think all companies cooperating with you will soon cease operations. All of your media advertising will be taken down, said the girl. Well, that's the end of our meeting. I will go back to the office and find out what you should have told me. We can't take up any more of your time. Mr. Jackson, pick up all the materials. Roxy also decided and rose from under the desk. If you have any questions, please contact us. Thank you for the meeting. Jackson said goodbye. After the guys went outside, they discussed the meeting. She was really cool. Roxy also noticed that Mr. Jackson was also good at negotiating. After all, the guy was learning from a good boss. Roxy, I want to go somewhere with you. Could you spare some time for me? It was then that Jackson asked out of the blue. Everywhere I go, I always end up in a department store. Do you look in your closet and see a bunch of clean shirts in there? I wish I had some stylish, casual clothes, but I don't know much about fashion at all, confessed the man as he brought the girl into the clothing store. Come to think of it, I've yet to see him in casual clothes, always in classic suits, Roxy remarked. This was the guy who really needed the girl's help today. Okay, let's get started. We need to try on this one and this one. Oh, I think this will work too. Already, Roxy was starting to look around. After that, the guy tried on a nice beige sweater. What do you think? Will it look good? Jackson inquired. At the moment, Roxy noticed that Jackson actually looked really good in the outfit. I guess whatever he's hoping for, it'll all fit, thought Roxy. After the fitting, the guys went to the checkout line. Are you sure you're only going to buy those things? These looked good in one, too. The girl decided to ask. However, the guy felt that 2 pairs should be enough. That's when the man decided to ask if there was anything Roxy wanted to buy herself. The girl thought that she wasn't going to update her closet today. However, upon entering the store, she noticed a nice pair of shoes. Nice. I've never worn those, but I think they'll be a lot more comfortable than shoes. Right? Pondered the protagonist. The guy also cast a glance at that pair of shoes. This pair, I think it will suit my Roxy very well. That's how, is it possible to pass by such beautiful shoes? Just, let's sample them? The persistent guy began to suggest. Of course, the girl couldn't just refuse him, so she decided to try them on. The shoes turned out to be really very comfortable and beautiful. This is a new design this season. White is a color almost no one chooses, but it suits you very well, a store clerk remarked. Jackson also thought the shoes looked great on the girl. Your boyfriend is very handsome and also has good taste, then said the counselor at the store. Of course, Roxy decided to take those shoes and change into them right away. Are you comfortable in them? Inquired Jackson. But why did you bring me here? Did you want to make me buy a new pair of shoes? Decided to ask the proxy. You were too quick to figure me out. I thought you were playing nice enough, but I quickly realized what you noticed, said Jackson, and then the girl added that the guy just doesn't know how to fake it. Anyway, thank you. You made my life easier. If it wasn't for you, I would have continued to walk around in uncomfortable shoes, said Roxy. Finally, the boys reached the very same sakura trees. The trees were blooming very beautifully. At that moment, the girl remembered how her boyfriend had already offered her to go to school to admire the blooming of the sakura trees. Therefore, the girl decided to suggest going to the school herself. That's exactly what the guys did. What nice weather. There is for the first time since graduation. I didn't want to come here even though I live nearby. I've been so busy, confessed the girl. In turn told that he, on the contrary, came here often. But it's a secret. I could tell you if you asked, Jackson said jokingly. It was the first time we saw him. By the time we hid, I'd missed the moment to invite you, and the next year I graduated. After all, watching the information is better with someone than alone. Still, the guy admitted, it looked really beautiful, like it was snowing. Besides, Roxy had always liked this bench. The sight was unforgettable. In a moment, the guy noticed that Roxy was still the same. The girl used to wait for him here all the time. I remember this. This place is next to the biggest tree in our school, and it's easy to see. It's so embarrassing, Jackson admitted. However, the boy was still a little embarrassed by Roxy as he stared at her intently. Jackson had always noticed the girl's beauty. I really think you're very pretty. If you don't, you'll never know what a person thinks towards someone. That's why I've always wanted to come here when these trees are blooming, to say something to Roxy. The boy confessed. I've loved you for a long time, Roxy. At that moment, Jackson suddenly declared. The first time the guys met was at the school's movie club. Roxy hadn't even paid attention to him before, but you never know what will happen. Roxy and Jackson saw each other every day on their way to and from school. They started chatting when they were doing homework from the movie club. It was their first common topic of conversation. After school, when the boys were waiting for the bus, they would play word games, since sitting around and not talking was boring. They often spent time together. Perhaps this was just the beginning of what was waiting to happen between Roxy and Jackson. The guys listened to one song together on the music player. As it turned out, their tastes in music were also similar. Yeah, I love that band. I first heard it on the radio, and then I immediately found the whole album. Have you listened to the new song yet? What do you think of it? Asked Roxy. Then the guy suggested, as soon as this song ends, to listen to the new one. They were really having a nice time together. Also, when the guys were at a distance, they still communicated by phone or text. They chatted about totally different topics, discussing shows and just some personal aspects in life. There were times when Roxy thought about her feelings. What would it be like to be close to Jackson? But if I say and get rejected, it's hard for me to continue our communication. How difficult. I don't know. The girl understood perfectly well what was causing her to hide her feelings. She didn't know what she should do. The only thing she thought about was that she should focus on her exams first. However, one day her school friend informed the girl that she was going to confess her feelings to Jackson. At first, I thought he was just cute, but the other day he helped me with my papers. I fell in love with him as soon as I saw his cute side. Narrated a high school friend. Those words from her classmate couldn't get out of Roxy's head. Annie confesses to Jackson. Well, she's been interested in him from the beginning. If he reciprocates, they'll date, right? Then what am I supposed to do? Completely misunderstood Roxy. One day, however, she happened to overhear a conversation between Jackson and her friend. I'm sorry. Thanks for telling me, but I'm not ready for a relationship right now. I'm sorry, replied Jackson's declaration of love to Annie, after which, of course, her friend immediately ran to complain to Roxy. Better he'd be cold to me, whined Annie. Not that I like him much, but damn it, I'm still crying. Annie's high school friend couldn't seem to calm down. Roxy consoled her friend, though deep down, of course, the girl was glad that the guy she was in love with had blown off another girl. It takes a lot of courage to admit your feelings. You're tough, Roxy remarked. But at that moment, the girl herself realized that she was selfish. However, there was nothing she could do about it. That day, Roxy and Jackson were walking together after school as usual. Do you want to enter the new bakery? The boy decided to suggest. However, Roxy realized that she had to refuse. Her feelings were getting stronger and stronger every day, So the girl decided to pause their communication with Jackson. Besides, she needed to focus on her studies first. Um, sorry. I won't be able to go to school with you for a while. I have to study for midterms. I'll go first, explained the girl before saying goodbye to her friend. That day, the guy texted her that he was leaving the movie club. Jackson was really sad about it. It was like the last straw in their friendship. Exams were a good reason to stop talking to each other. They crossed paths at school, but they didn't even say hello to each other. So, unnoticeably fast, the time flew by. Exams were over, and it was time to graduate from high school. After that, Jackson treated Roxy only as a senior in the club and never tried to get closer. However, one day Jackson still decided to talk to his ex-girlfriend. The guy approached Roxy with a beautiful and lush bouquet of flowers. "Roxy, congratulations on your high school graduation," pronounced the guy and sweetly handed the flowers right into the girl's hands. After all these years, however, Roxy was genuinely surprised that Jackson had liked her before. Plus, the girl was totally not expecting to hear a declaration of love from a guy after such a long time. After a few seconds of silence from the guy's confession, Jackson still decided to speak first again. "Roxy? You were surprised I said that out of the blue, weren't you? I'm so embarrassed." An embarrassed Jackson admitted, however. The girl assured him that it was okay. "You're lying. You're surprised. It's all over your face. I don't really expect you to answer me. Thought if I didn't tell you, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. So I thought I'd do it now. I'm so embarrassed. Can we go already?" hurriedly said the guy, who was already very embarrassed. Still, Roxy held him back, tugging lightly at the fabric on Jackson's shirt. "Jackson, wait a minute." But no sooner had the girl said what she had planned to say than her phone rang. Roxy apologized as she forced herself to pick up the phone after all. It was her mom calling. "You said you could come over early tonight, then come over for dinner. I'll just go to the store," pointed the mom, and the girl agreed. "I'm sorry I kept you waiting. Come on, Jackson. What I was going to say, it's no big deal. It's time to go back, Mr. Jackson. See you tomorrow," said Roxy goodbye before parting ways with her boyfriend. As Roxy headed towards home, she replayed in her head everything that had happened to her a few minutes earlier. What was that just now? It's like I swallowed my tongue. Roxy, and you're funny. So why didn't you ask? What are you going to do next? If Mom hadn't called, I totally could have done it. I'm not stupid enough to be happy about something like that. Blamed and tried to console herself at the same time the girl did. Just then, on her way home, Roxy happened to run into her mom. The woman was walking with large bags from the store. "Mom, why is your bag so heavy? I told you not to carry heavy things." A girl met her mom. "It's not that heavy. I'm practicing. I'm glad I can have dinner with you. Do you really like working late that much? Where did those shoes come from?" The attentive woman asked in surprise. "I bought them because my old shoes were uncomfortable," explained Roxy, whereupon her mother remarked that it was indeed better for a girl to walk in heels than stilettos. At that moment, Roxy remembered Jackson's words today about her shoes. "That pair, I think it would really fit my Roxy." "How so? How can you pass up such beautiful shoes? Just let's try them on," Jackson suggested at the time. This memory made the girl so happy that she couldn't even hide her smile. "What's that you're smiling about? Did something good happen?" Mom remarked in a moment. Then the girl easily said that nothing such happened and decided to better inquire about what they would have for dinner tonight. Mom wanted to make Roxy's favorite dish tonight, fried calamari. "It's been a long time since I've seen you in such a good mood, mistress," the girl jokingly said, after which the ladies continued on their way home in high spirits.